Hi, do you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, and Maria? I don't hear you right now. So Maria, your audio is off still.
Yes, her audio is off.
All right, give me 1 second.
Maria, can you hear us?
Okay, Maria, she needs to be, she can't unhost, her audio can't be turned on. I think the host has to turn her on. Audio, Maria,
Let me see.
she has the slides.
She should be able to mute herself.
She was trying to unmute herself. She couldn't. She said the host is not allowing that. Assuming that's you, I know I can't.
Well, I'm gonna make it a co-host so that way she can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that'd be.
All right. Okay, can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Orlando and Orlando. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here today with Orlando to present an introduction to the metaverse, virtual reality tools and techniques. And we're going to get started. So our agenda is a little bit full. We're going to talk about what is virtual reality and augmented reality. We're going to get a short history of virtual reality. We're going to talk about different VR headsets. And I want the session to be participatory. So in the chat, if you have used VR headsets, it'd be great as I'm speaking about different sections, if you could enter in the chat what headset you're using or what your experience has been with VR. Organizations using virtual reality and social virtual reality. What exactly is social virtual reality and the metaverse? Alonda's going to give you a demonstration on how to create avatars and some other cool things. And he's also going to talk about what is the metaverse and how are we going to build it. So just a little bit about me. I have about over 15 years experience in training and development, working for various corporations, pharmaceutical companies, real estate companies, government agencies. I've led strategic initiatives, education initiatives at various colleges, formerly at NYU SPS in the Division of Programs and Business. I led the operations for management and technology vertical with over 1,000 students. And I'm currently an adjunct faculty at NYU Tisch Institute for Global Sports. And also, as Dr. Orlando said, Director of Continuing Education at Berkeley College, overseeing a variety of different programs. Orlando, take it away.
Oops, sorry. I had Skype hanging out. So essentially, I've been in the mobile space now for about 10 years. I've been in development for over 25 plus years. I developed video on demand systems, live streaming systems for QVC, AT&T, Intercall, big training organization, and many more. Done development for JP Morgan Chase on the mobile development apps, IBM Watson Research Center. I've done work with the Department of Defense and other organizations doing call center control, done VR work and AR work for the Hudson River Park systems. And we have apps in the Oculus store, including Apple and Google Play. Been visual effects for indie films and shorts, and a lot of other things related to iPhone, iPad. So I've been around the block. I have a film background and a mobile background, and I love being engaged in immersive reality.
Thank you.
Yeah, so some of the apps you'll see in the App Store, from games to more AR related work, and a lot of corporate stuff there for the Chase of the worlds and the IBM. The next slide. Monster Gate was something that we have in the Oculus Store for the Oculus Go, a multi-user game that allow us to go in there, defend the fort. It kind of became the placeholder for how we develop our own metaverses. So game development has been a big part of what's driven a lot of the new technologies when it comes to VR and AR. Next. Smart XR is some of our work we were doing in AR. Right now it's actually being updated, so it's down right now, but that's where some of our XR AR work has happened. Next. And some of the graphics you'll see if you go to Google Play or the Apple Store for the Hudson River AR in the park, you'll be able to see 3D animals and videos. And if you go into the parks along the Hudson River on the Jersey side and the New York side. Digital Summit is kind of our flagship website, which really we do a lot of our video and AR, VR work, including a lot of our editing and animation work. Next. And VR spaces, where we're going to be talking a bit more about where's our real focus now, creating kind of VR social environments where we can create both public and private spaces. Today, metaverse is almost an overused word, but that's basically what's being called. And we're going to talk a lot more how not only do we developing this and some of the techniques and some of the challenges we face.
Thank you. So before we talk about the metaverse in a more in-depth way, we want to talk a little bit about what virtual reality is. And again, if you have a headset or if you tried virtual reality using different tools, please put it in the chat. We'd like to hear from you. So what is virtual reality? Virtual reality literally makes it possible to experience anything, anywhere, anytime. It is the most immersive type of reality technology and can convince the human brain that it is somewhere it is really not. Now, during the pandemic, I have to tell you that I usually use the VR headsets quite a bit because I was able to escape to different countries, have different experience, such as using, there's a great Apollo 11 experience VR, a lot of different VR apps that really transport you from where you are to these other places. And it really is relaxing. And it's so immersive. It feels so real. So what is augmented reality? Augmented reality is the real-time use of information in the form of text, graphics, audio, and other virtual enhancements integrated with real-world objects. And again, if you've had some experience with augmented reality, please put it in the chat. There are a lot of different apps here. We have somebody who downloaded some apps and they're in the city and they're able to see information regarding those places that they download apps for. So for example, you have augmented realities regarding restaurant coupons or makeup, or you get to try things on clothes before you actually buy them. And even recently, we ourselves purchased we're looking to purchase a water cooler, and we were able just to download an app and place that water cooler where we wanted to put it to see if it fit, it looked right. And that was pretty amazing. So there's a lot of application for augmented reality. Another example, some of you may have downloaded a furniture app, which a lot of is really popular right now. So you can see how that piece of furniture is going to look in your living room or your bedroom or wherever. And it's pretty cool because you get a realistic view of how that furniture will look before you buy it. History of VR. So we can't talk about the history of VR without mentioning 3D technology and the stereoscope of 1838. And it was interesting because just the way I was using my VR headset to travel with a product called Wander and just see different cities and people, experience it with other people as well, which we'll talk about later. the stereoscope was really two images that were taken at slightly different angles. And when those images are put in the stereoscope, it mimics this 3D effect, and really nicely done. We actually have one of these. And you see the picture on the right there's a little bit more in terms of the second statue is a little bit more enhanced, and on the left side, there's less of that statue, but that slight difference is going to create this 3D effect when you view this image through the stereoscope. So that's pretty cool way of looking at or being able to travel virtually. Then you have the Sensorama, which added other elements like sound and fans, so you could feel like you're traveling somewhere or on the road and it feels real. Some of you may have gotten the Viewmaster years ago. They did a beautiful job with having, you know, some of the Disney stories in using these different slides, and they did a beautiful job there as well. It's just done really nicely, beautiful visuals. And the first VR AR, you know, Ivan Sutherland, 1968, he created with his team a head-mounted display with 3D head tracking. And he was also a professor of electrical engineering at Harvard University. And he enabled the digital wireframe graphics to be superimposed over the real world, which was really groundbreaking for its time. And some of you may have heard in 2014, Oculus Rift, Palmer Luckey founder, launches a Kickstarter. And in 2014, it was acquired by Facebook for $2 billion. And more equipment becomes more affordable, right? The Google Cardboard, you could put your phone in this Google Cardboard glasses device and have your experiences, which was really cool. And the eTVR was similar. You would put your phone, or you could put your phone in this device as well. And if you think about it, again, these two images, the video that's being created, similar to the stereoscope, right? That concept. The videos, slightly different angles, creating this virtual experience. If you had an experience with the Google Cardboard, let me know. It was very popular. Some schools are still using it. There was an important inflection point in VR. The New York Times VR content, innovative storytelling at its best, truly. In 2015, the New York Times partnered with Google. And this VR experience, remember, this is a Google Cardboard with a phone, and there's a film called The Displaced. It's truly an immersive experience. You really feel for these children in these challenging areas, just beautifully done. It's a truly powerful empathy engine. And in 2016, there are more VR headsets that come out, the Oculus Rift. And in May 2018, the Oculus Go comes out, and it is a real game changer because this is a wireless device. You don't have to be tethered to a computer, and it's extremely powerful. So VR tracking, VR requires some kind of tracking. The Google Cardboard was the accelerometer and the gyroscope on the smartphones. On the Oculus Go, one hand control, you have 3 degrees, so you can move your head up and down, left and right, and tilt it in either direction. And with now the Oculus Quest 2, there's 6 degrees of tracking. So you're able to physically move in and out, to the side, you can crouch up and down. And that helps you help you have even a more immersive experience. And this is, of course, the Quest in May 2019 and the Quest 2. So the Microsoft HoloLens is a mixed reality, augmented reality device. And truly, you know, this is a great product because this is more of a product for a product that can be used to create toy designs. And Mattel used it extensively. So you have people all over the world, you know, developers in any part of the world coming together to create a design using these types of headsets, which is really amazing. So Londo, talk a little bit about the screen resolutions.
Sure. So a big part of was have these headsets have improved has been for many reasons. One of them obviously is resolution. The more resolution you can put in front of the eyes, the more realistic you can see the details in these immersive reality, because it all depends on this. And we see this improving year after year after year. You see that the early Rift and Vive had 1080, the 1200, and it's kept improving. The Sony PlayStation is coming out with a new one later this year, an improvement on their Sony VR PlayStation, and that's going to have comparable or maybe a little bit better than the Quest 2 today. So all these resolutions are getting better, and but it's not only that the resolution is getting better; it's all the other pieces around it, including how it tracks your hands and also the 3 and 6 degree of mobility.
Thank you, Orlando. And, you know, I was thinking when I first met Jessica Hendricks at a VR meeting in New York City, I learned about this tool, this VR app that she created with her team called BioDrive. And what was exciting was that this was really for middle school children to learn about a marine, how to, you know, the career of a marine biologist, investigating the delicate ecosystems of venomous marine snails. And, you know, they had such a great data, you know, how the students were learning, how they were using this, a sophisticated product. And it was exciting to see that, because I'm thinking at that age, if I had access VR experiences to learn about different careers, maybe, you know, I would have, you know, different options. And so it's good for kids to have all these different options, but really have that close view of what these careers are like. It's one thing to hear about them, but it's another thing to experience it. And that is, they did a beautiful job. And that was with the Google Cardboard and the iPhone, phones, the smartphones. And I have to tell you, this is, you know, a story that really always motivates me. In 2020, just as the pandemic, you know, the lockdown became a reality for everyone, the NYU Rory Myers College School of Nursing was having an issue because they usually send their students out to get field experience. They usually gain clinical experience via rotations in hospitals, but that was not possible. Then they ended up using virtual simulations with voice-activated nurse avatars, using virtual reality software with various scenarios to train their students. That's amazing. And some of you may have heard in the news a lot of medical professions, people, doctors, surgeons practicing a procedure before they have to actually do it via VR, which of course can minimize risk. So this is an amazing product for education. So you heard me talk a little bit about using it for leisure, like for example, experience, you know, Apollo 11. You know, in terms of having that experience. But then here we're talking about using it for education, for a true transformation of skills, which is really extraordinary. And also in the news, Walmart used the Oculus Rift for their pilot Walmart training program, Walmart Academy training with different VR scenarios. There are programs for different positions and occupations. They said that 70% trained on the Rift outperformed those trained via other tools. That's pretty amazing. And in 2018, they bought thousands of Oculus Go headsets to expand their sales trade. And here there's other examples. The mine rescue simulation helps create a safe and cost-effective way to create training, effective training for dangerous situations. The Accenture Virtual Experience Solution is a virtual reality training experience that makes the unknown familiar in human services. Now, this is interesting because I've done a lot of live training, and to hear that they reduced training time by 40% and they improved employee performance by 70%, that's an amazing, those are amazing statistics. And it's encouraging to hear of that kind of training and that kind of transformation that can happen in such an important field. One experience I had recently was there is a film, a 45-minute film called Madrid Noir. And it's a great little film. It's a mystery film. And it really draws the person in the VR experience to participate in the story. And there are elements of live theater. Different sets pop up. There's great sound effects, and you pick up objects, and you're part of this experience. So there's a lot of application here also for education. Imagine you're teaching leadership, or you have role playing. You can create different sets, and these sets can pop up and kind of disappear, and another set comes up, and you could try something else out, but in a very immersive way, a very memorable way. We'll share the deck. Someone asked about the deck, and we'll also share some URLs so you can check some of these things out. Some benefits of VR in talent development. It appeals to a variety of learning styles because you have the auditory, you have the visual, the kinesthetic. So people like to try things and they feel empowered, right? And they can learn things that way. It eliminates risk and safety concerns. It reduces the training budget because you have scalability, right? You don't have to go to 100 places to do live training. You can have these experiences delivered through the headsets, right? Delivering results to a wide range of industries. As I mentioned, you have pharmaceutical, you have telecommunications, you have so many different types of industries using virtual reality to conduct training. And it removes time and travel from the equation. So using VR for leisure, you could travel around the world anytime, as I mentioned. You can go see the Grand Canyon, you can kayak in Antarctica, just so many cool things that you could do. There are, of course, many games, meditation, which is really in the front of everyone's mind right now, being mindful, being able to relax. You can escape to amazing experiences. And one of the things that I love about VR and the metaverse is socializing with others. So in other words, if you're traveling, maybe you want to travel to a museum in London and you're traveling with a group. You can teach a history lesson. You can have this experience with a couple of people, which is really cool. This is an example of the Oculus 2 home screen. And just to share that. So Alondo's going to talk to us a little bit about the videos that are used, how videos are created for VR experiences. Thanks, Alando.
Sure. So a big part of what VR in the early days, there was an awful lot of 360 videos, which is is an easy way to create an experience in this immersive environment. So taking these early cameras, stitching them together to create a 360 was pretty complex. In this example, this particular camera does about 5.7 video, and it can basically it has two lenses, one on each side, and between them, it can take a 360 and it will stitch it all for you together. If we look at the next screen, next slide, we can see, the next one, sorry. Next slide, yeah. So each lens would take a part of the environment. It'll be like a wide angle lens. And these two pieces will be stitched together through software. In the early days, there were multiple cameras, and many of the high-end ones still do this. But the complexity of stitching it together gets very, very, it just becomes much harder to pull off. Now, in this case, this can become, the next slide. Oh, it's not there. Okay. So there was a slide to show you the entire screen stitched together. And basically, that's how you would create a 360 environment. So a lot of folks can simply buy these units, $300 to $500. GoPro has one now, a little bit more, but essentially the same thing. So if you wanted to quickly create a 360 environment of a realistic space, you can do that with stills, or you can do it with video, and it can be very compelling. The downside, I guess, is that doing things just with video doesn't give you the same interaction you might have if you have 3D. So in many cases, people combine 360 video images with 3D environments together to give you a whole synthetic world. And that's going to be an exciting part of what makes the metaverse work really well. And Maria's going to talk a little bit about this.
Thank you, Alando. And by the way, those cameras are so cool. So what is social VR? Social VR gives the users the opportunity to engage with people from all over the world. And players can choose or create an avatar, hook up their VR headsets, and walk around in either a developer-created world or a world that users create themselves. And I just want to give you a quick example. So before, when I mentioned the Apollo 11 app, so that's that I'm having that experience on my own. I put the headset on and I'm traveling with Buzz and Neil, and it's amazing. But there's nobody else. I can't invite my my partner or friends because it is just this one-to-one experience, as outstanding as it is. But then let's say I'm using a product like Wander, where I am traveling to a place, Puerto Rico, wherever, and I want people to travel with me. Maybe we're going to visit a historical site, whatever it is. So that makes it even more immersive because you're seeing the place together. You can talk about it. and it's very realistic. Now, of course, I'm just going to talk about how to create an avatar, but in these with these social VR experiences, you could also create avatars before you enter the environments. So what's fascinating though is that in terms of this type of industry, how it's growing, right? It's expected to reach 800 billion by the middle of this decade, and by 2030, that figure is expected to multiply by 2.5 trillion. That's to 2.5 trillion. That's an amazing little bit of information about where this technology is going. And I love AltSpace VR. If you've used AltSpace VR, please put it in the chat. It's a great social VR platform. It's kind of an informal social VR platform. They're beautifully designed. And the marketing director of AltSpace says, a social platform for VR said, when you meet with someone in VR, there is a sense that you are together. You experience something with that person in a way that you wouldn't otherwise. And that is, I believe that. A lot of companies using social VR for meetings and a variety of things. So use cases. So for example, in AltSpace VR, they have a lot of different events. So you can see someone inviting you to a meeting where someone's playing guitar. There's an open mic session. There's meditation. There are education sessions. So there's a lot of opportunity to connect with people with social VR with a tool such as AltSpace VR. Something happened extraordinarily, it was really amazing in March 2021. Microsoft's Ignite Developers Conference was conducted with AltSpace VR, and there were close to 3,000 developers all over the world. James Cameron heliported in for his presentation. Just truly remarkable that it worked so well, and it really went out without a hitch, as the people said. So when you're in these social VR experiences, you're not going to see yourself as you are, of course, you're going to see yourself as avatars. So these are our avatars in AltSpace VR. Alonso, myself, my brother-in-law. Now, I want to give you an example of how you use AltSpace VR or social VR for marketing. Hi, I'm Maria Rivera. I'm part of the virtual reality development team at SmartXR. Welcome to our XR Conference Center demo. We can create and host meetings, training, and large conferences in all kinds of virtual event spaces, from comfortable office spaces like this office for small meetings or coaching, to larger rooms that are more urban like this, or rural, or casual space for team building. This demo will show you a possible scenario of what a conference or training meetup might look like. I hope this gives you a better sense of what our XR and VR Conference Center can provide. So you can see that, and by the way, I did want to go out to the previous slide and just mention that David Herrera is also a consultant, a programmer developer consultant for VR spaces. So if you look at that video that I just showed you, think about it. I didn't have to do a lot in terms of getting, my hair done, or because, this is an avatar, but it's professional and it's a quite elaborate marketing piece. This is just a small piece of it, but it was great to be able to create it and show that we could, use marketing in VR as well for marketing purposes. So AltSpace VR, you might want to check it out at some point. If you're really interested in having a social VR experience, it's free. There are a lot of features, as you can see. You can have a slide deck, many features. You can use it on a Windows or a Mac. Really amazing product, and it's free. Then we have Engage, which is more a corporate type, a more formal VR platform. You have auditoriums, you have conference rooms, and you have full-length avatars. AltSpace VR is just part of the body, but these are full-length, full-body avatars, which is really amazing. And you could customize them. And of course, you can use this on a Windows or Mac or iOS, Android. And there is a free account, but there's also a paid account for the additional features. Glue is another similar type of social VR environment, which is kind of a go between Altspace VR and Engage, kind of in the middle. Again, there's a free account, a free subscription and a paid subscription. And Spatial is really an amazing social VR app. You should check it out, see the demo. It is very polished, it's great. They're all really wonderful in their own way. But I think Spatial, you'll be taken, just be really impressed with how they developed it, the visuals. They did a really nice job. And here's a summary. And when I share the deck, please take a look. You can see all the comparison between the products. And I would suggest that you download them or download two of them, Altspace VR, maybe one of the other ones, so you could do a comparison. So Orlando is going to talk about now Web 3.0 on the Metaverse. Take it away, Orlando.
All right, thanks, guys. So I guess we want to get into more, a little more techie on how you actually create some of these environments. And at the end of the day, I guess a big part of it's very hard to describe a VR environment without actually using a headset. And headsets are coming out in the future from Apple and other vendors, and they're getting lighter and they're much more improved, and it's going to make it easy to deal with. But at this point, we're going to talk a little bit of what's going on in the future. There's a lot of talk about Web 3.0 and Metaverse, and the idea is that there'll be an interactive environment where everybody can connect, and it'll be almost utopian in nature. There's a lot of discussion about NFTs, which are basically certificate of ownerships that are being used for all kinds of from Coinbase and monetary e-commerce scenarios. And NFTs are having a big impact in both in selling of digital art and in digital real estate. And we'll talk about that because it's having a real impact today. And it's all based on the blockchain technology, which is really sort of having a big impact on how the future of e-commerce may be conducted. So the next slide, but we're more interested in what's going on now, because the whole idea of Web 3.0 and the metaverse of the future, people are talking about the next 5 or 10 years. And that's great. But also the reality is that trying to create that kind of utopian metaverse is going to take a long, long time. And there are a lot of different interests that don't necessarily line up very well. So in today's world, the metaverse is really more of a multiverse of metaverses. All kinds of different folks are getting involved with creating these different metaverses. So it's more like you see like Sandbox or Decentralized Land and all these other folks that are creating pieces. Obviously, Meta or Facebook is creating one. Microsoft and many other folks are going to jump into the fray. And a big part of our interest is how do we sort of create this so that everybody can take advantage of it. And let's look at the next slide. So what's going to happen is that I put into the chat the vrspaces.tv, which is our metaverse. The idea is that not everybody's going to want to go into the big boys, and some people want to have their own personal private brick and mortar. And so we're sort of developing technology that's going to have a free tier for the folks to come in and enjoy. And so other organizations that want to have their own metaverse, their own area where they control people coming into that world, not just give up control to maybe the Facebooks of the world, and make it really easy to onboard, which could be very, very difficult at times. And we've seen that what works well today is that the user interface is easy to use. And that's key to making all of this work. Next slide. So building the metaverse takes a lot of different type of technologies and companies. And just a sampling here of different pieces you need. You need software engines, you need ways to create assets, hardware interfaces, displays, virtual worlds, avatars, and marketplaces, as well as financial services. And that's where some of the blockchain technology comes into play. And we're going to be talking about a few of these because it's a big, big subject. and how we would approach this. On the next slide. So the idea of a metaverse, there's a lot of approaches from an architectural point of view. But one of the more common ones is one that we're pursuing in our own endeavor. And this is a constant changing environment because a lot of new interesting technology comes on board. But essentially, all the different clients, all the different headsets, all different people, it could be desktop, could be headset, are really communicating with a central server. And the central server is responsible to making sure everything stays in sync. If you did a true peer-to-peer scenario, that's much more complex. While doable, it doesn't expand as well. And that's why the internet works so well, because it's self-contained to a big degree. But you will see all kinds of different architectural models. The next slide. So basically then, the server engine or the game engine is there in the center of the spoke. And all the different clients, all the different software running on the VR headsets are communicating to that, to that central piece, which is the way all games have been developed for a long time when it comes to multiplayer. And because it's the only way to effectively try to keep the universe in sync. Let's go to the next one. So building the metaverse means a lot of different things. So we basically need to be able to make buildings, make assets that you own the building. You need interactive assets that do things like radios and boats and other activities that may happen. Because if you don't have that, you're going to have just a pretty looking museum piece that nothing happens in. So we need things to actually move around. NPCs or non-player characters, from humans to birds to cats to people that actually inhabit the world, apart from actual people who have avatars that'll be living in that space or moving in that space. So we need those things. We need rooms and homes, place for meeting rooms, whiteboards, video screens, slideshow presentations for meetings. You need avatars that actually animate and interact with the world, hand and speech. And we're going to see a little bit of that when I get into a demo showing how we will create avatars and how we deal with lip sync, for instance. And obviously the world should feel like there's something really happening there, weather, rain, day and night, and so on. So the whole building we're building VRSpaces.tv, and I gave you the link in the site so you can check it out when you get a chance, is that creating avatars that allow you to sort of be able to interact with that world, have lip sync, have facial expressions, and that's improving constantly. And in order to make an immersive environment, you need things that feel like you can interact with. And we're going to be showing some of that. Next slide. So we're going to jump into a few demos. I'm going to share my screen and show you a few things. And let me give this a shot. And let's see if I get this. Where are we? Okay, we're here, I think. Okay, hopefully everybody's seeing that. So right here, this is essentially, let me refresh this page. So we created an environment. We're going into a soft beta next month. So folks who are interested in knowing more about this can just stay tuned or contact us. There's going to be more information on the website coming up soon. Right now, we're targeting Quest 1 and 2 as a primary, but we're doing it in such a way that we'll be able to quickly move to other VR headsets with our open standards, with Vive Index, and eventually we're going to have desktop and Mac and Windows support, as well as iOS and Android support. So the idea is that we'll create these spaces. We're going to have VR spaces as a public facing environment, but we'll also be able to create these spaces for other organizations so they can do as they wish. So you'll be able to interact and talk and so on. This gives you a little sense. This is older video, but it gives you a sense of the environments we're creating, from very corporate looking to very Pixar looking. And at times we'll go into something much more realistic. In this case, there's a big park system that we have. It's kind of we call it Brooklyn, but it's kind of a urban little environment where you sort of can run around. And here you have a kind of a Roman town, more realistic looking piece where you can explore environments. So you can use these spaces in all kinds of ways. But the real cell isn't what you're seeing here, because it's just a 2D environment. It's when you have a headset and you're in it and you can move around freely and do all kinds of things. You can think of it as kind of a Disney World without lines and without the constraints of having to go do the ride exactly the way you want. In this space, you can explore and sort of examine different things. So, so VR Space One, we also had digitalsummit.tv. It's kind of a video-centric website. We did a lot of storytelling here, mobile VR and AR work in the past. We've done from films and short and from even feature films. We believe the metaverse is not only about immersive, it's about storytelling. So the idea of telling a story inside metaverse is a big deal, because that's how people learn, exploring on their own, checking things out, and interacting with characters. And that's the exciting part of what the metaverse is going to bring to us. So we've done animations in the past. This is from a film we were working on. Frankenstein was one that will be coming back next year. But let's talk a little bit about how we actually create these avatars. So let me make sure I'm on time. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit how in the past, creating avatars was a very complex environment experience, because you needed to know a lot about 3D, about rigging, about animation, using tools like Maya, 3D Studio, and many other tools that allow you to create these characters in games. And that's how a lot of it is still done today. One of the nice things about the evolving technology that's supporting all of this is that there are ways to create avatars much, much easier. One of the sites that I like a lot is readyplayer.me. And we're gonna, again, give these resources out so you guys can check them out yourselves. And we're actually gonna go through an example of this. So the idea is that you can actually create avatars using this tool set. But what's really unique about it is that it gives you a lot of built-in technology that you can jump on rather than doing everything from scratch. And I'm going to actually go through this process myself. So just to give you an idea of a bunch of different avatars we developed, you'll see some avatars, and actually some of them you'll see later on. And when I show you how the lip sync works. So we can go from avatars that, let me go in here for a second. And it loads up. Basically, all this runs on the web, so you don't have to download anything. And you can customize and do all kinds of work on not only what they wear, from skin tones to clothing to hair, and all kinds of technology. So we're going to go into this into more detail in a minute. I'll show you how that works. But what's as we dive into this, I'll explain what this means. It doesn't just mean that you have a static statue of yourself. An avatar has to be an avatar that has expression, that can talk, that can blink, that the hand gesture, that can grab things. And that's pretty sophisticated stuff. All you need now is a brain. And in most cases, it's going to be us being the brains of it. But in other characters, non-player characters, there'll be an AI brain that lets them do basic tasks and sort of interact in the world. So if anybody's seen, we've seen a million movies about some of this, but like Free Guy and so on, where you have characters that are driven by AI technology. So let's take a look at how we actually do this. I'm going to create a new avatar, and you'll see how this process works. So I'm create new avatar. So we're gonna create a brand new one. Now it's gonna ask us two basic questions, male, female, basically. And I'll go with male, I guess. Now at this point, this is kind of an interesting part where you can actually upload a picture or take a picture yourself. It'll look at you and it'll create an avatar that looks more or less like you. So you have a few options here about creating personalized avatars. I'm just going to continue without a photo, because now I can just pick some avatar I like. They give you some templates here. And you see a bunch of different faces and hairstyles, etc. And let me see what I feel like. Oh, I'll go this way. I picked the first one. Now it's loading this template of an avatar, and they just put some random clothing on him for now. He's obviously not going into work today. So the first thing down below is really the skin texture, from lighter to very dark. It all depends how you want to play it. So we'll pick somewhere in the middle. And now let's take a look at the next phase. Now here you can actually, and you can move things around so you get a better look at what the avatar could look like, is what kind of face they want, rounder or thicker. So if I pick a few of these to see how that looks, let me move in this way. Or I jump over here. You see some slight changes in the chin, narrow face, and so on. So I'll just stick with the first one. Now we can jump on to the next one, which really is eye shape. So you can pick all kinds of different eye shapes, and let's get a big eye here. And then now we can play with the nose. What kind of nose do we have, you know? So from here, a more narrow nose. Okay. And it's very subtle stuff. So you really can play with the appearance here. And then let's do the deal with the lips. And I'm going to leave this alone because I think it looks fine. So let's go. Let's see if we can do something about his wardrobe. So here you have default, and here you have all different wardrobes you can try. And I'll just randomly pick a few. Again, from very casual. Let's see, let's jump around a little bit to more sporty. He's more of an athlete working around. And here he's going out to the prom. And you can go to really strange little fantasy superhero, I guess. I don't know what that is. And again, there's all kinds of clothing you can play around with and allow you to sort of create an avatar that you might be interested in. So let me stick with, all right, let me go with this. So now we can go and work on his hair. Now he has, I think the hair is okay, but let's just mess with it just to change it. Okay. And okay, make him more youthful, I guess. Let's go here. Okay, we'll do that. And he has already a little Van Dyke, and we can change that a bit. I'll pick just the mustache. That doesn't look too good. Again, and let's jump around a little bit. Okay, lighter beard, lighter still. And so you have a whole bunch of potential beards that you can put on him. This definitely doesn't work. and that doesn't work either. So I'm going to back up a little bit, see if I can find something that's not too. All right, we'll stay with that. Now we'll go to the eyes themselves, you know, and again, you can pick the different shades of color. We can give him brown eyes or these little funky little eyes, I guess, but we're going to stick to something that's more normal.
Alonda, we have a question in the chat about the cost of Ready Player Me.
Sure, it is free. At this point in time, none of this costs you anything. And I'll show you how you download it. So you can create these, play all you want, create an account. Many places that are creating avatars are using this. There are ways to integrate into your own software, but if you simply want to create an avatar, you can come here and then you have your own little library and you can even download it. And I'll show you how you download it and potentially bring it into some other software to add animations or to bring into Unity or even Unreal. Okay, we'll leave him with those eyes. And again, you can mess around with the eyebrows. And if you want to have him be cool, you can give him some glasses. Why not? That's okay. And these are kind of funky little heads, like they give him masks and stuff. I won't play with that. And if you wanted to have a hat, which Okay, could do that, but I'll leave the head off. Okay, so now we got a bunch of folks, and this is a full body avatar at this point. I'm going to go back to the hub. It's going to sort of prepare this avatar. Okay, so where is he? Okay, it's coming up. Oh, there he is. Takes a minute or so. So at this point, I have my my little strange guy sort of hanging out there. I can go back and edit him if I don't like something about it. And he's a full body avatar. And we're going to come back to him because we'll probably use him in the next segment. But essentially, you can do things like if you here, I actually have an account. Again, it's a free account. And I can download this avatar. It supports the format called GLB, which is used by a lot of software. It's kind of new. Most game engines like to use .fpx, so we're going to do a conversion at one point. But this will give us an avatar that not only has a rig, an internal bone structure, but has facial and lip sync capabilities. We still have to do work to make that work, but we can modify that. And now I'll show you slightly, we'll come back, but I'm going to just do a change, and we're going to create one new avatar. And let's see, where do we do? Okay, I'm going to pick on, okay, let's pick on, okay, let's go here. Let's go, I'm going to edit this guy. I just want to show you a slightly different avatar. Oh, he's still not what I wanted. Hold on. And I'm gonna, let me try this one more time. And usually when you first load up, it gives you the body type. So we got this, but it's not what I really, and I wanted to continue. There's something called VR body that just gives you the upper body and not the whole piece. So we're gonna skip this for now because I don't want to lose too much time. I want to show you how I download this character. Let me move this out of the way. And let's go. Okay, so let's go back to our friend here. I'm gonna download him. Okay, and it downloads and gives you this long-winded name. And let me show you something real quick. And I'm going to rename, this is Windows, but this will work on a Mac. Okay, okay, we'll tell, okay. Okay, good enough. So it's a glib file, and we're going to discuss that a bit more. So, all right, so now basically you can create an awful lot of avatars here and just play here on off and create whatever characters you want, female, male, you name it, from really funky looking characters to very corporate, sophisticated characters. Then, for instance, we'll see this guy a little later when I start showing you lip sync. And here he's dressed down. Later on, you'll see he's in a whole formal suit. So let's take a look at that next step. So we'll come back to, I want to show you software that we're going to use to animate, then I'll show you how to convert it. So here's another site called Miximo, and this is an Adobe sponsor site. And essentially this lets you upload characters or simply get a character here, add animations, and download it and use it in your own games in Unity or in any other project in Unreal. So the sample character is this old guy hanging out here. So this basically, you can get, this is free. You can go and create an account here and at miximo.com. And we'll put some of these links, I'll put some of these links inside the chat as well, but we'll have a page with all this. So if we wanted to switch characters And let's just pick on a younger guy. I'm going to switch to this character. And here he is, just hanging out. And then if I want to add animation, there's an animation section. Now, these animations are animations that have been captured of real performers, that motion capture, so that they can be applied to animation. So if I wanted to simply put, I'm adding this animation to this guy, you see how his behavior is pretty realistic in terms of how he moves. So we can sort of click on different pieces of animation. There's all kinds of different animations that you can use, and you can walk and talk and then back up a little bit so you can see him actually do his thing. So this is one way of sort of, if you don't want to animate yourself, you can use this and many other libraries out there to apply motion capture animations to your character. It won't actually show you doing that to the one we did in the Ready Player Me, so you can see the full cycle, how this would work. I'm going to go back to character for a minute. The other option is that and we'll come right back. I'm sort of going to tie this all together. Let me move this out of the way because I can't see something here. Hold on. Okay. Is that if you need to get your own characters and you want to model it, you can model something in Blender or Maya 3D packages, or buy it, or get somebody to do it for you. There are sites like Free 3D, where you can sort of get characters, download or pay for them, and then you can they're characters that are rigged, and by a rigged character means a character that has a bone structure that could be animated inside of 3D software. And then you also want characters that are textured, that look like they have skin and clothing. So generally, you can find characters that have nothing, just the outer body shell and nothing inside. But Miximo, will allow you to actually rig it and add motion to it. So I want to show an example of that. And so I downloaded a character before that does not have internal skeleton. And so if you just got a character that you like, let's say somebody modeled it for you, there's a lot of great people who know how to sculpt, but don't know how to rig and don't know how to do the other parts that will make the character fully alive. But you can get a lot of great talent that can sculpt things. So let's say you get somebody to sculpt a model, or you buy one. You can then upload a model. I'm going to upload one here. Let's see. And I have one that doesn't have any skin or texture. I'm going to keep it really simple. And basically, I'm uploading this character that I got for free at Free 3D. And I'm not worried about the texture or the look. I just want to see if I can get the outside body and this kind of a anime type character. And it gives you a chance to sort of play around here if you want to change it or move it around. But that seems to be just okay the way it is. And now it has something called an auto rigger. So that means that you can bring this shell of a body and actually rig it and let Miximo rig it so it can actually apply animations. So what you do is you drag some of these icons here, the chin, and you'll see a little close up on the right, and you try to sort of position it on the chin. There. Then the wrist is the next one. So I'm going to position this on the wrist. Close up gives you an idea what that is. I think, oops, that's good enough. Then the elbows. Let's do the elbows. And again, it's around there. Okay. Now we do the knees. All right. And then we sort of center this toward the center of the body so that it can sort of know where the center of gravity is for this icon. And once you're happy with it, it's using a symmetry to help make that quicker. If you didn't do that and you had a character that was not symmetrical in nature, it's harder to pull off. These kind of characters, human bodies, tend to be a left-right, tend to be aligned. And just a little information how to place these markers so that it can do the auto rigging. Now I'm going to hit next, and it's going to do its magic. So I'm going to basically look around and try to figure out how it's going to rig it to take about 30 seconds. Give or take. Usually 2 minutes is it's long, a complex character. But once it is done, now we can actually apply animations to a body shape that's essentially like a model that had no skeleton. It's going to add a skeleton to it, and then we can add motion to it, running or moving around. Now it's loading it up, and it has a default motion that you can check to see if everything works okay. And this basically, you can review it from different angles. And then if you're happy with it, I'm going to say next. Yes. All right, so it's, let me switch so the same animation I had before, it's basically just applied it to the model, and it worked pretty good. There's some issues with the mesh that probably needs to be looked at later on, but the animation works. So I can go to the animation section and basically find something. Let's do a hip hop dancing. See how that works. And there she goes, hip hopping. And let's try a few other things. You can spend an awful lot of time playing around with these characters once you create them, finding animations that you can sort of bring and apply to these models and so on. So non-player characters, NPCs in games, if you're an avatar in a metaverse, you may run into other characters, maybe another human inside an avatar, but it could be a computer control player, and they may be using animations to help them do their thing. All right, so we'll come back to this. She ran off. Okay, let me switch it. So just to give a better idea, you can, there's a lot of tools out there available, and I'm just going to quickly just go over a few of them. Some of them don't have to be that you have to use VR headsets to create these environments.
Bill's prompts.
Sorry. So the idea, a little phone, the system dialing me at the wrong time. So one of them is hubs, Mozilla Hubs, which allows you to create 3D environments, and including bringing avatars and so on. And there is communication between the ability to bring in very player avatars and others into these environments. And again, you can sign in for this. It's also a free environment that you can set up all kinds of environments, create rooms, create entire spaces that you can sort of create whatever you want. Other places for creating 3D assets are things like Sketchfab, which allow you to create and buy assets that you might want to use inside your metaverses, from sneakers to all kinds of different ones. You can explore here, and let's say animal and pets, I guess. And a lot of these assets you can actually buy and bring into your different environments, whether you're developing a game or developing a metaverse environment, or in Unity or Unreal or some other package. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things you can do without blowing a lot of money on this. So we looked already at free 3D. So the next issue we have is that we need to be able to convert the Ready Player Me format, the GLB, to something that Unity and Unreal likes. Basically, the game engines tend to like the format like .fpx, which has been used for a long time. Most 3D packages like Maya or 3D Studio or Cinema 4D, it's a long list. They all support some version of .fpx, so you can export your model. And it's basically a conversion thing. You need to be able to try to export the model as complete as possible. So GLB is a very rich format, and this particular site, Pose, will convert to all kinds of different formats. So you can take a glib file and export it to FPX, and each one of those does different ability. It can do it to different extents. So the problem sometimes with some of these conversions is you can lose data, because not all of them do a complete job. So if you do one with this one, it may support the outer body and may support the skeleton, but won't support necessarily the blend shapes, the lip sync information needed. So making sure, depending that your format converter matches what you want, is important. So we're going to give a few different options for all of this, including these. Again, there's a website, and this is free. There's other software you can buy, like room planners that can make you make rooms and let you also convert these objects. You can also find software that may be useful to you, like Microsoft 3D Paint that some people use to create objects. These are not necessarily fully rig objects, but might be, like you said, fishes or furniture and so on, and convert them and export them and so on. And that's a lot of fun. But in most cases, we need to be able to convert the GLID file to a fully formed FPX. So one of the ones that does the best job of that is Blender. Blender is a free 3D package, which has been around for a long, long time. It was pretty complex to use. It's gotten much, much better, but it can do the whole ball of wax, from modeling to conversion to painting, creating entire scenes, exporting them into a Unity or Unreal environment for use in a game, or just rendering beautiful scenes. We're going to just use it to convert our Ready Player Me format to something that Unity likes, so that we can continue working with it in our environment. So let me see, what do we got? Okay, so let me bring up Blender. Do you guys see Blender now? I'm not sure now because I wasn't sharing it. I don't think so.
We can see it. We can
You can see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. At this point in time, what I'm going to do is that format I just downloaded a while ago, I'm going to import it into Blender. So I'm not going to give you a tutorial on Blender. Blender is really complex beast, but it's for conversion is a snap. So I'm going to go in and import, and then you see all the formats that are supported. These are formats supported by a lot of software out there. But we're going down to the .gob, .gobt. Those are comparable formats. And I want to go to download, and let's see if I find my guy. Okay, I'm done. Give me 1 second here.
Orlando, I'm just seeing a static image. It looks like the landing page for Blender, not what you're actually doing on your screen.
Oh, okay, then. I'm going to unshare for a minute, and then I'll reshare. So just give me 30 seconds. All right. And you guys, as you want, just post questions, and we'll have a question and answer period at the end. Let me see. I need to also find the file that we just downloaded. So let me do that. Let me share this. Let me put this over here because I can't find it. And I'm going to go. Let me share this. Where are you? Okay. Okay, where are we? Let me see. Okay. I think you can see the Blender screen right now.
Yes.
Okay. Now give me 1 second because I realized I didn't take a good look where I saved that other file. Sorry, guys. Just trying to make sure I locate the. Okay. Let me do it this way. Okay. So I'm going to import a file. I just re-downloaded it again because it went somewhere strange. When you got too many files on these computers, you can be really organized. So I'm just going to bring in the file that we just did. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I imported the file that I renamed before, and our character. You bring it in, and here we go. And you notice that he's not really doing much here. Center him. See him there? You see he's just a plain gray dude. And that's because that's the default rendering that Blender gives you. But if up here in the upper right, if I click on the little ball right to the whole sphere, it should give us a texture map of the character. So now we see the same character that we exported. Now we need this one converted to a .fpx so that we can use it inside of Unity. So now I'm going to simply go to export, not doing anything here. Clicking on .fpx. All right, and I'm going to just leave it in download for now. And okay. Leave it at that. Oops. Right. Okay. Now, I need to set some options here because FPX can export parts or all of the information. I wanted to literally copy everything that's in there. And then a few things that I don't necessarily need is, if you look at this shut off a few options we don't need. Don't need that. Let's go to animations. We're not doing any, we have no big animations because it's very possible to animate in Blender and export the animations to Unity or Unreal. So I did an export, and let's see if we got this. Okay, so I exported this out, and doesn't look like much, but now I can do something more with this character. All right, so I'm going to now just switch again. I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to reshare the Maximo screen. And Maximo, I should say. And where are we? Okay, we'll go back to this. I think this is where I can get it. All right. Okay, you guys seen the Miximo screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to now upload that character that I finished converting to FPX. And we're going to go to download, and I call it VR demo, and I'm just going to load that up. Now this time, if things went well, rather than it trying to rig it for me, it's going to recognize that the FPX already has a rig. So there's no need for it to do rigging. All that information will be inside the avatar. All right. So this time, it didn't prompt us to rig it because he's already set correctly. And that looks fine, and I don't see any problems with his texture. So I'm going next. Yes, replace. And he's doing the same animation that we done before. And you can do the same silly dance. And again, I can pick on all kinds of different animations and play around with that. So now we had successfully created a Ready Player character, exported out, convert the format to .fpx, which now Unity can consume and Maximo can because Miximo can consume, because we need to deal with that in this environment. So that's that all cool. So we'll go to the next step now. So we mentioned so let's see, what's this one about? Okay, so Unity essentially is a package that's being used by most games developed today. I don't know, 50–60% of the games are being developed with Unity. Unreal is the next popular one, but Unity is they're both very powerful packages, and all have their strong suits and weak suits. But essentially, Unity is, you can get it and pick it up for free. So if you go to unity.com, if we look at the pricing plan, so these are if you're getting the Plus and the Pro plans. So just go to individual, and if you're a student, you can get it for free, or you're doing a personal plan, you can do it for free. And basically what that means is if you develop a game or something, if it makes less than $100,000, it's free. So, and if you're making more than $100,000, well, I guess you could afford that plan. So, so it's really a neat tool. And we're gonna look at a little bit at how we're using Unity to do our lip sync. So we saw how we can add animations, and we're gonna take a look at how we can use it to take a look at lip sync, and then we'll take some questions. So give me 1 second to convert now. And I'm going to stop sharing again because I got to switch to Unity. Okay. Segundo. All right. I think I got it. Here you are. Okay. So hopefully you guys are seeing this our avatar hanging out in the Unity space. Can everybody see that? Hope that's a yes. Okay. Okay. And let me. 1 second here. Okay. Are you guys able to hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So basically now, this is a VR avatar that we exported from Ready Player Me. Ready Player Me can do full characters, so that you can pretty much see the full body, and that's great for standard games. It's also good for non-player games. A lot of people notice that in VR, you'll see a lot of characters from the body up, not the full body. And there's different reasons for it, but at the end of the day, all the current headsets, they track your hands and your head, and you can extrapolate where your body is. But it doesn't do a great job when it comes to legs because there's no trackers on there. You can sort of guess what you're doing, and you're seeing that stuff like in Engage, they sort of guess where the legs might go and do it, but it tends to be a little funky because it's not really tracking them. So a lot of VR headsets, metaverses, just have half bodies because that's what information they actually got. And also means less rendering and less calculations. So in this particular case, we're using this character to demonstrate some early lip sync work that we did on how that works. So just to give you an idea how the model actually looks in Unity, I can take a look at this avatar. So the avatar has a lot of different bone structures. You notice here, I went to a hip, spine, left hand, right hand, neck, and there's a full rig here, a full skeleton that could be used to animate it. Now, we're not doing this manually because we're going to download, a lot of this being controlled by the headset. And if we can apply animations, then we do that. We do some of that for the hands. But the other thing that it also has is, if you look at left eye, right eye, hair, hands, head, we look at the hands, you notice that there's a bunch of controls here called blend shapes. Blend shapes is one way that characters can be given emotions or ability to speak. So basically, they're little animations that you can control. So here's mouth open, and if I move the slide over, his mouth can open. And you have all these different controls. They control different parts of the face, the eyes, squinting, and so on. And there's actually the teeth has their own blend shapes, which let them sort of do different things, usually related to the jaw. But you don't see that unless his mouth is open. So let's go back to here and let's do a mouth smile. Yeah, happy guy. So what we're going to do is, so one of the things we did was, in order to get lip syncing to work, first thing we have to be able to make sure that our characters can talk over the internet. So we know they can move around. You saw the videos from VR Spaces, they're sort of moving around, and you saw some speakers above them. That was done as a test just to show that they can talk to each other. So literally somebody from Brooklyn can be talking to me out here in Rockaway, New Jersey, and we'll hear it more like the way you would hear Skype or any other kind of software that lets you, how Zoom is working. It's just sending audio files. Well, it's not sending audio files, but sending the wave formats that sort of get turned into that. So once that happens, you need a way of interpreting that sound to a corresponding lip sync, where it's mouth open or closed and so on. So the way we did it is this, again, a lot of different potential ways of dealing with this, but essentially creating, we use one package called Salsa, which we also like to dance to, but essentially it's one of many different packages out there that can help you interpret the sound into the appropriate emotions or look. So if we wanted to see a preview of something, we can actually do this. Let me get rid of that smile because I'm going to show you a demo of him talking. Go back to neutral. Oops, missed them. Okay. So I'm going to, I have a pre-recorded piece that you'll hear talking about the lip sync software, and you'll see take a look at not only his lips, but look at his eyes and even his eyebrows. Little subtle expressions that he can do. And this is an older version, it's not as improved as some of the new stuff we're doing, but this gives you a good sense of where we're going. Here we go. Oh, let me know if you hear or not, because I'm not sure the audio is going to get recorded.
Salsa, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind Salsa provides high quality lip sync automation for your 2D and 3D character models. Salsa processes audio files in real time with zero requirement for pre-processing or shape mapping your audio. Results are superior to basic jawbone animations and eliminate labor-intensive phoneme mapping. With its low price point and minimal workflow requirements, Salsa is perfect for indie studios on a time and cost budget. You'll get great results with low impact effort, allowing you to easily breathe AAA quality life into your characters, leaving you more time to focus on what matters most. Pick up Salsa today in the Unity Asset Store. We look forward to seeing what you create.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Okay. And you also notice that on the right, a bunch of those sliders that I played with were moving all over the place. And basically the algorithm was sort of taking the audio and converting it to appropriate blend shapes, which allow the character to blink, to smile, to open his mouth, his brows move. And that's how we will have our avatars today, are using that technology to be able to not only talk to each other, but you see the avatar speaking to you as you hear them talking. So that allows us to create an interactive avatar, and of course, hand movement, finger movements, and things like that. And the things that you'll be able to see when we move into a beta. We're going to have a preview next month. So anybody who sends us emails, we'll put you on the list and send you some new videos. There'll be some updates on the website. And then if you guys have a Quest one, you can actually be on the beta, and we'll include you and let you know when we open the doors up to that. So I'm going to stop the share, and then we can I'll let Maria take over for a minute, then we'll get into some questions.
Okay, thank you, Orlando. That was, let me just see. So now we're in our question and answer period of the session. Thank you again for all of you for attending. We appreciate it. Please let us know your questions. You can unmute yourself, or you can put the question in chat and let us know the questions that you have. And we will be sharing the deck and the list of resources. Thank you for those questions.
And put the email address there so people can see it.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I don't see it. That's why.
It's in the chat, right? I put it in the chat earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have a slide with that?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's going to be on the slide, but I put it in the chat so they can send us an email if they want more information. Yeah.
Okay, let me bring the chat up, see if anybody's.
Well,